This is a closer look with the monitor. I'm Craig Blumenshine from Prairie Public. We have a two-part closer look with the monitor today. In just a bit, we'll visit with Michael Achterling, a reporter with the North Dakota Monitor, about growing concerns over screen time and school-issued devices. North Dakota's cell phone ban has changed the atmosphere in many classrooms, but are laptops and tablets creating new distractions? But we begin today's closer look with the monitor with Jeff Beach. He's the deputy editor of the North Dakota Monitor. Artificial intelligence, it's already finding its way into North Dakota classrooms, helping students research subjects, develop ideas, and prepare for a world in which AI will likely be a part of everyday life. But the technology also presents risks, particularly when young people turn to AI chatbots for companionship, advice, or help during a crisis. North Dakota Superintendent of Public Instruction Levi Bachmeyer recently told state lawmakers that schools should retain the flexibility to decide how AI is used for teaching and learning. Instead of broadly regulating AI in schools, he said policymakers should focus on the companies developing these products and the safeguards they provide for children. Jeff, welcome back to a closer look with the monitor.
Thanks for having me, Craig.
Jeff, tell me about the superintendent's testimony before the legislative committee.
Yeah, so this committee is kind of a new committee with kind of two missions, looking kind of the higher profile part of their charge is data centers, and which have been a hot topic in North Dakota. You know, both the construction and siting and oversight of those, you know, very large, heavy load computer or AI driven centers. But the other part of it is the regulating artificial intelligence in North Dakota, you know, on several fronts. Levi Bachmeyer, the state superintendent of schools, was there to, he really kind of outlined some areas of do's and don'ts that he thinks the legislature should keep in mind as they go forward with possible legislation to regulate artificial intelligence use in the K through 12 schools.
He identified companion chatbots as his greatest concern, and according to your reporting, what distinguishes those products from the AI tools students might use for, say, schoolwork?
They really don't have any educational value in Levi's mind. You know, they are just kind of a predictive text kind of product. There have been instances where students, young people who maybe might be a little bit socially isolated from their peers for whatever reason, have turned to these as kind of a friend, but they are not always offering good advice. Sometimes have even encouraged young people to inflict self-harm, and that's really his main concern. There's really no upside in his mind, and fraught with danger for some students who may be easily influenced at this point in their life.
Rather than broadly restricting AI in schools, Bachmeyer wants lawmakers to focus on the companies providing it. Why does he favor that approach?
Well, I think he wants to ensure educators, school administrators have the academic freedom to use AI as they best see fit. You know, it's a very rapidly developing technology, and some states have implemented outright bans on AI use in public education, which he says is going too far. That AI is an important tool for students to learn how to use and learn how to use it responsibly. So the companies that provide AI is where he would like to see more regulation, especially on these companion chatbots, and just making sure that they are being forthcoming with people, not just students, but everyone that you may be interacting with a non-human voice that seems very human in a chat situation, and making sure that they have guardrails up that keep people's best interests in mind and keep their tools under control. There have been some recent news of like rogue activity by chatbots, even hacking into another company's platform as it tries to seek out answers, which is what it's designed to do. So there have been some interesting developments on trying to rein in what AI can and can't do.
But according to your reporting, he also warned against restricting AI so heavily that students are unprepared for college and the workplace. What educational value does he believe or does he see in allowing students to use AI?
One example he gave is AI is very good at some things. Being able to use it to provide accurate research results. People say AI has a lot of potential in scanning huge databases, medical research being a big one. And one area where he kind of said maybe North Dakota needs to scale back is computer coding, which North Dakota has put a fairly high emphasis on in public education, teaching kids how to code and opening up potential tech careers. But artificial intelligence has really taken over a lot of the coding world. Now the task is you need to know enough about coding to manage and implement what the results AI might give you, but a lot of the heavy lifting of computer coding is now done by AI.
Does North Dakota currently have standards or rules governing generative AI use in schools, or are those decisions primarily being made by teachers and local school districts?
Yeah, I think it's mostly with school districts, school boards, administrators. Students, of course, are not encouraged AI to do their homework. It's a quickly evolving technology. One thing that Levi Bachmeyer said is that he doesn't expect schools to implement courses in how to use AI. It'll just be kind of incorporated into whatever course they might be taking, whether it's math or even English. There could be some use. A lot of it is about being upfront about that. If you did use AI to do some research, you need to be noting that, show your work, kind of a thing, with how you used AI to get it. Because AI, using the right prompts and things to get the right results from what you're searching for from AI is a skill. That's a skill that students probably will need to learn as they go into college or whatever career field they enter.
Jeff, under Bachmeyer's preferred approach, what decisions then would remain at the local level, and would any be guardrailed, so to speak, from state policy?
Well, from Levi's point of view, I think almost all the decisions would be up to local control, up to school boards, up to administrators, up to classroom teachers. One of the guardrails that he actually has kind of encouraged is software that helps teachers and parents kind of monitor screen time and computer time so that students don't spend too much time searching the internet, interacting with chatbots, put some guardrails up to maintain that balance of human interaction and using a computer and research. The cell phone ban that went into North Dakota during school hours has been pretty well received. And he doesn't want, once kids get out of school, to spend all their time on a screen again after school.
We're going to talk more about exactly that here in just a moment with one of your colleagues, Michael Achterling. We'll get into the use of screen time after school on school-provided devices. Before we go, Jeff, did you hear disagreement or uncertainty among lawmakers and education officials relative to this discussion?
No, I think it was pretty well received. I mean, whether they follow Superintendent Bachmeyer's advice to the letter, I don't know. They may have constituents that have other thoughts and maybe other thoughts of their own. But there wasn't a lot of pushback against what Levi presented, at least in that particular committee.
Jeff Beach, he's the deputy editor of the North Dakota Monitor and visits with us periodically on A Closer Look with the Monitor. His reporting includes Regulate AI Companies, Not AI in Schools, North Dakota State Superintendent Says, and Public Asked to Weigh In on Technology Use in North Dakota Schools. Jeff, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining us on A Closer Look with the Monitor.
Thanks for having me, Craig.
A Closer Look with the Monitor continues. Of course, it's our weekly conversation with reporters from the North Dakota Monitor, and I'm Craig Blumenshine from Prairie Public. As Jeff Beach just reported moments ago, North Dakota's ban on student cell phone use has changed the atmosphere in many public schools, but it's also directed new attention towards the laptops, the tablets, and other devices provided by the schools themselves. More than 2,200 people responded to a statewide education survey earlier this summer. Well, about two-thirds said technology is very important for teaching and learning. Respondents were divided over when students should receive school-issued devices and how much time they should spend using them. State lawmakers are now discussing possible limits. One proposal being developed for the upcoming 2027 legislative session could establish screen time guidelines based on grade level, restrict when school-owned devices may be taken home, and give parents access to information about how those devices are being used. Michael Achterling is a reporter with the North Dakota Monitor. He examined the survey results and the debate over how North Dakota schools can use technology as a tool without allowing it to become a distraction. Michael joins us for a closer look with the Monitor. How are you, Michael?
Oh, wonderful, Craig. Thank you so much for having us today.
Pleased that you are with us. North Dakota, as I noted, has already banned student cell phone use during the school day. What happened after that ban turned attention toward school-issued laptops and tablets?
The one thing that's important about the cell phone ban, go talk to a teacher about it, and they will tell you that it did help. Curb people using their phones, chatting between each other, and just kind of being on them as a distraction. It stopped the warring between teachers and students and parents, like, oh, it's the law. And so it actually had a very positive effect. So if you ask a teacher, more often than not, I would imagine that they would say it had a positive effect. But here's the thing. Once that happened, the school-owned devices, the laptops that all these students get, when they go to school to do schoolwork on, they're finding ways to use what they had been doing on their cell phones on these school-owned laptops. And I don't know, one teacher did tell me that, one of the first things a student will learn is the quick key for minimization in a browser window. So teacher's coming by and you hit that quick key and it quickly minimizes your window. And so really some of the cell phone behavior has migrated over to the school-owned devices and laptops that they're using for their schoolwork, which causes its own set of problems and kind of shifts, the device use to the laptop instead of what was on the cell phone.
So a few thousand people participated in the state's community survey on education. When respondents were asked about the greatest challenges facing North Dakota schools, was this part of what rose to the top?
One question was, what are the biggest technology challenges for K-12 in North Dakota schools right now? And 44% of those respondents said addressing student well-being concerns related to social media and screen time. Next on that list at 43%, right behind, was AI, and then cyberbullying at 39%, and then cell phone use still coming up on this survey. But yeah, the social media and screen time was the highest concern in this survey.
Was classroom tech among those concerns, and how this stuff is being used, as you kind of pointed out earlier, in the classroom?
Not the classroom tech specifically in this survey. Definitely parents were worried about social media and screen time for their kids on, at school. Like we said, once the cell phones went away, things just kind of migrated to these school-owned devices and laptops.
Michael, your reporting indicated that two-thirds of respondents said access to technology is important for teaching and learning. What benefits do they see in keeping tech in the classroom?
The parents do see the benefit of being able to use tech. The majority of parents do not want their students cut off from tech, and they want them to be able to access tech. It's just, when should that be introduced? How much should they be using this tech? What should be the basis for kind of a tech education and usability while they're in K-12?
The respondents were divided over when students should begin receiving school-issued devices. What did the responses reveal?
It's kind of interesting because there was nothing that rose above a majority. The highest plurality, about 43% of respondents, said that tech use for their students should start in junior high or middle school. 26% for high school was when the tech use should start, was the next highest response. The lowest one, though, is 5% as soon as they start school, and 12% said the middle of elementary school, about third grade. So it seems like parents and the people that responded to this survey do want tech to be starting a little bit later than it is right now. Also, I'll point out that almost 13% of the respondents said that they should never have access to these technology devices. So, but a strong plurality thinks, right around the start of junior high and middle school is probably the right time. But again, that's actually a little bit later than when students are getting this tech right now. So that would be a change.
So Senator Axman is developing legislation for 2027. What kind of screen time limits is she considering?
Well, okay, so that's interesting. There are a few different facets to kind of her proposal, and obviously we'll give a large caveat here. This is a proposal for the 2027 legislative session, so there's still a few months to go here, and so there's plenty of time for refinement. So this is just kind of the higher overarching points. We haven't seen the bill draft yet. I did have her give me a rundown. What she's including in her bill is it would be a limit on the screen time on these school-owned devices depending on what grade you're in. So like some of the lower grades, maybe only 30 minutes of screen time per day. Some of the higher ones, maybe up to 90 minutes. But I mean, that can really vary, and I don't think that's in stone yet and still up for discussion. But there would be a variance depending on what grade you were in and how much they want you to use these school-owned devices.
Your reporting says that the senator said that some students use these school devices late at night, well, to watch YouTube or access other entertainment. Do we know how widespread that problem appears to be?
We don't know particularly how widespread it is, but it does make sense where let's say you have a student that didn't have a laptop. Their parents didn't get them a laptop. Maybe they don't have access to a computer at the home. The school gives them this school owned laptop and they take it home with them, and they'll do their schoolwork on it, but then they can use it for other things. And then there's other scenarios where maybe they do have a laptop of their own, but maybe the parents have put monitoring or blocked some sites on that laptop. The school owned devices don't have that, and so it's kind of a way around being able to look at what you want to look at. And it can be just watching YouTube videos, visiting these sites. So we don't really know how widespread it is, but it definitely it does happen.
Michael, Senator Axman's proposal could give parents access to information about their child's screen time and online activity. First, I'm surprised that that's not already the de facto standard, but what would parents or should parents be able to see?
Well, right. So Senator Axman said that, one of the interesting things is they do already have this platform and the ability to log in and see, how much screen time a specific laptop is getting and, what sites they're visiting. So now it's just kind of allowing parents to log in and see their child's school-owned laptop. They'll be able to see how much screen time they are spending on that laptop, and they'll also be able to see the sites that they are visiting. So not really new, but more expansive, and they're encouraging parents to be a little bit more proactive in their students' screen time.
You visited with Superintendent Levi Bachmeyer, who says technology should promote active engagement rather than passive distraction. What does that distinction look like in an actual classroom, and what did the superintendent have to say?
I thought it was a wonderful phrase that he brought out there. The active engagement is they want to use these devices to promote learning, to promote a process of getting how to do something into your head, and so you'll be able to use that going forward, not just become a passive distraction, which I think. Some modules that maybe kids are doing on their school-owned devices. Talking with a middle school teacher yesterday, some of the modules that they're doing are almost gamified, like they play like games. You need to complete this. You get so many points, so many right answers will get you this sort of badge. And you're trying to collect all the badges and get many points as you. And so they don't actually retain as much information when they're doing things like that because they're trying to go to the next level. They're trying to quickly advance to the next level. It's not. I mean, yes, they're going through all the motions, but the information doesn't stick there. Whereas if you were using the device to actively learn how to do something, that it can help you along the way instead of just, answering a question and getting points.
Are teachers, Michael, looking for statewide standards, or do they want individual classrooms and school districts to retain flexibility?
Well, that's a really good question. I think right now it depends on the school district. If this policy goes forward, it might be a little bit more uniform. But the teacher I spoke to, she's already planning on taking a step back from how much work she's assigning to these school-owned devices. One of her quotes that she ended up giving me was she wanted to make boredom fun again. Yeah, and I just love that, because a student finishes a project or an assignment, they'll go on to something else on their laptop, that they want to see. Whereas she doesn't want that. She wants them to open up a book. She wants them to talk to their neighbor about how bored or how easy that assignment was. It's those little interactions that the kids are missing when they just have their heads in these laptops. And so, she welcomed stepping back slightly from these school-owned devices and kind of promoting more in-face interaction and more person-to-person learning.
Is there more discussion to be had between now and the 2027 legislative session as Axman and other lawmakers turn these ideas into possible legislation?
Oh, I think so. I mean, we've got a few months here before the session. Another facet that I didn't really touch on in Axman's bill is they, maybe trying to limit some of the virtual learning days, like for weather, maybe, do those in person if we can, make them up in their makeup days in person instead of virtual learning. It's really just trying to get them off the screen and eyes up on the teacher, because they do feel that the information does stick a little bit better when you're getting it directly eye to eye instead of through a screen.
Michael Achterling is a reporter with the North Dakota Monitor. His reporting examines how North Dakota education leaders and lawmakers may address screen time and the use of school-issued devices as they prepare for the 2027 legislative session. Michael, of course, reports for the North Dakota Monitor, a site that's always free, no subscriptions required, and certainly no paywalls. Michael, thank you again for joining us for a closer look with the Monitor.
Thank you so much, Craig. Sign up for our newsletter.